Cuba, it's me. Welcome to episode 112 of The Willu Show, which stands for Wrestling is Life. Life is Wrestling. And today I wanted to talk about some of my favorite props in wrestling, like things people use to enhance their character or just things used in wrestling. Sometimes it's by a manager, sometimes it's like an animal. So first, obviously, Jake the Snake. Now, I don't know if they can get away with this kind of stuff anymore, especially with the animals, because like the animal cruelty for animals thing. I'm surprised when they did that, like the throwback Raw or whatever a couple years ago when Jake came back, he was actually still allowed to bring the snake, just because there's so many rules about cruelty against animals. But I'm surprised. But I'm terrified of snakes, but yet I was fascinated and I loved when he had the snake. So that's my first one. I always liked, it was so stupid, but the Genius, when he would write his poems, he had his ledger thing, and he would use that to win matches, and I'm like, does that even hurt? Like, really? But it was awesome. I love that. So that's my second one, is the Genius's ledger. My third one would have to be Mr. Fuji and his salt. Like, mostly with Yokozuna, where they do the pre-match ceremony through the salt, but I just love like the salt in the eyes. It just seems like the worst thing you could ever have. But I loved it. I always popped for the salt. The salt, I don't know. If I had to use one weapon myself, I'd use the salt in the eyes. So that's my third one. The fourth one would have to be the Undertaker's urn. I love the urn. I even bought like a foam urn for like $10 when I went to this house show in Victoria, BC. And I just loved how he drew his power from it. And it just seems so sensitive. It's like a dead person's ashes in there, and they never like fully explained it, or did they? Maybe I missed that. Like, was it his parents' ashes, and him and Kane fought over the urn? I think they may have said that. And the one time Yokozuna and him had the casket match, and the urn came out, and all that green smoke came out of it. I love that. So that's my fourth one. My fifth prop that I really like in wrestling is got to be Mouth as Hell's Jimmy Hart, his megaphone. It was so annoying. I hated it as a kid. I hated that megaphone, but I loved when he used it to win matches, though. I just, like, so classic. Getting hit with a megaphone, that would really hurt. Like, those things are heavy. And it was like, he was loud enough already, and then having a megaphone there at ringside, like, really? Oh, come on. But, you know, what are you going to say? And then, so that's my next one. I also love when the British Bulldogs have Matilda, the dog. Like, I'm a pretty big dog person, but then also reading some of the funny stories over the year of how people would pull ribs on the dog and feed it like chili, and then it would go to the bathroom all over their hotel room and stuff. Like, I don't know, but it was so cool. The British Bulldogs have a bulldog and then come down to the ring. Like, that dog had to be trained well to like be out in front of like 20,000 screaming fans and not crap itself right there. I'm sure it did sometimes, but like, I mean, they must have trained that dog good, or it was just like a deaf dog or something. But the cameraman thinks it's funny. Anyway, the next prop I like, what would it be? There's so many good ones. Like, as you can tell, I'm just doing it, I'm just winging it. A lot of times on the Willis Show, I just wing it. So another prop that I really like is the Boogeyman, when he would have that clock and like break it over his own head. The clock, I just loved it. Like Flavor Flav, the Boogeyman. I don't really know what the clock's, like, what did it signify, or what purpose does it serve? Why did he have a clock? Like, your time is up, I guess? I guess that would be my guess. But the next, I just loved when he broke the clock. The Boogeyman clock. What else do we got here? I really liked Papa Shango's smoking stick, like his voodoo stick or whatever. That was awesome. Everything, like his necklace. I just love Papa Shango, if you watched my episode yesterday. And what's some other props that you don't see a lot of them nowadays? Back in the 80s, everyone had some kind of like animal or like manager with some kind of thing. Like, it was kind of corny, but it was kind of cool that Coco Beware had a parrot. That was kind of a cool prop, I guess, right? And I always liked also it's cool when they have the King of the Ring and then they get the King prop and whatever. And I loved, before the Money in the Bank briefcase, I loved IRS briefcase. That was a good prop. They made good use of that on so many occasions, and having the brick inside the one time or whatever to smash Brutus Beefcake's face. So that was a good one. Remember when Shawn Michaels would always come out and he'd have like Sherry hold the mirror for him? Shawn Michaels mirror, that was awesome. Um, there's not very many good ones anymore, really. Like, people should come up with more props. I know like the animal ones would be hard to do nowadays. Um, I'm surprised they even could pull it off back in the day, to be quite honest. But like, why don't more people have more props? They have like a tire and then they take off this sweater and whatnot. Like, I mean, they do in their entrances. Like Bailey has those balloon things pop up, and everybody has fireworks and smoke and whatever. But do people have props anymore? I really like when Simon Dean would come down on that mall cop scootery thing. I thought that was classic. Like the fitness trainer that couldn't even walk down to the ring. That was great. But what, I mean, this is the Willow Show. I do it for myself, but I'd love to hear other people. What props do you like? Like, I just kind of quickly ran through some of the ones I like. What props do you like? That leads me into my next thing. Always remember, like, or you get a leg drop. Comment, or you get a clothesline. Subscribe, or you get a suplex. I'm your host, Elliot Habanero. I'm gonna go pull on Matilda the Bulldog. I love wrestling. Cuba!